Good morning. I'm Councilmember Marion Barry, representing Ward 8, and chair of the Committee on Workforce and Community Affairs. Today is April 19th, 2013, in room 120 of the historic Johnny Wilson building. The time is now 10:35. Today the committee has convened in order to conduct a public hearing, oversight hearing, for the Office of Veterans Affairs, Office of Latino Affairs, Office of Aging and Pacific Islander, Commission on Aging and Latino Development, Office of Human Rights, Commission of Human Rights, and the Office of Community Affairs, to include the following: the Office of GLBT, Office of Women and Policy Initiatives, and Commission of Women, Office of African Affairs, Youth Advisory Council, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Investment, Office of Religious Affairs. Mamadou Samba.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mamadou Samba. I am from Dakar, Senegal, not too far from Gorée Island, which you just mentioned. I am a Ward 5 resident, and I am a Cap City Fellow for the District of Columbia. As a Cap City Fellow, I have had the privilege of working in the Office of African Affairs for 6 months, where I completed research and authored the District of Columbia's first ever State of the Africans in a District report, in which I've highlighted African immigrant population growth since the 1960s, as well as accomplishments and challenges. I'd like to share with you a few of my findings. Based on the American Community Survey and the Migration Policy Institute, African immigrants make up between 17 and 20% of the foreign-born population. This is roughly about 16,000 African immigrants, and these are the numbers that we know of. Between 2005 and 2010 alone, roughly 60,000 African immigrants have moved in the Washington, D.C. area, Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And experts predict that this number will continue to rise at a rate even higher than those of Latin America. There's a major challenge that I found in my studies in getting an accurate count of African immigrants. This is due to lack of data and population undercount. However, my studies suggest that currently there are roughly 1,500 African immigrants living in Ward 8, 3,100 living in Ward 5, 1,500 in Ward 6, roughly 2,500 in Ward 1, and about 1,300 in Ward 7. And again, these are the ones that we just know of. Today, there are over 50 African countries represented here in the district, and over 30 African languages spoken in DCPS by DCPS students alone. The purchase power of African immigrants is estimated at 50 billion and is estimated to reach over 250 billion over the next decade. Here in the district, Mr. Chairman, 33% of African immigrants have invested in home mortgage loans, which means that African immigrants are here to stay. And this number is even higher than African immigrants in New York and Los Angeles combined. In addition, 47% have lived in the district between 10 and 15 years, and 19 years, I'm sorry, and 19% have lived here for 25 years or more. African immigrants constitute a major economic force in the district and have a strong business presence. One only needs to walk to the U Street corridor to see it. African entrepreneurs represent a strong linkage for DC businesses trying to expand to fast-growing markets in Africa, as well as establish growing business presence on the continent. In matter of education and earning, African immigrants reach very high education attainment, but yet the unemployment rate in our community is very alarming. These unemployment patterns and the failure to utilize highly skilled African immigrants contribute to a fastest growing phenomenon known as brain waste, which is defined as the chronic underemployment of highly educated people and skilled group of people, depriving local economies of very much needed tax revenues and skilled labor. African immigrants generally report superior health status compared to other immigrant groups, but face many challenges complicated by language barriers, cultural stigma, and stereotype. Just an example, but according to the American Community Survey, 26.2% of African immigrants here in the district lack health insurance. And as you may know, the lack of insurance causes delay in detecting diseases and preventing diseases, and contribute to a rise in the healthcare costs. According to our very own district of District Department of Health. Among African women 40 years and older, 44% indicated they never had a mammogram. And among those 18 years and older, 34% never had a pap smear test. More importantly, sir, the Kaiser Family Foundation assessment that there are no precise national data on HIV/AIDS on African immigrants should be a great cause of concern for the district. These challenges raise the importance of a strong and vibrant Office on African Affairs in order to partner with agencies and the community on workforce and community affairs to address the growing public policy needs of African immigrants in the district. In closing, African immigrants contribute to every aspect of life in the district, including cultural, economic, and educational. We are students, we are parents, we are doctors, and who knows, even future council members.
I like that.
I do too. In my research, I put forth several policy recommendations to help the district address these challenges, including investing in resources for culturally targeted outreach and educational program, investing in African immigrant workforce development to address brain waste, and finally supporting a strong and vibrant Office on African Affairs. The returns on these investments are far greater in terms of revenues, strong community, and a skilled workforce. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. This concludes my remarks, and thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much. That's really a lot of good information. I want to thank you for that. As I said earlier, you've given me more insight on where I can put this money. I'm going to put some money in the Office of African Affairs and Latino too. But I really appreciate this. Let me ask you this: are there any? I know there probably are. Are there any one or two organizations that represent the cross section of Africans here? I know the Ethiopian have a economic Ethiopian Cultural Center, some others. What I like for you all to do is find a way to get everybody who's doing anything for the African community in leadership together. I want to meet with them and push hard and be more cohesive about this. I know how it works down here. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, so I'll be talking to all of you all about that. All right, next.